Hello there, Christian from Stupid Game Dev here, and today we are going to have an exciting tutorial. In this tutorial we are going to be creating what I call World Location Manager, and what it does is that like you have seen in many different RPG games, when you enter a new area, it's gonna show you in a text in the middle of your screen where you are right now. Like you just entered, like in example in World of Warcraft, you just entered Stormwind, Orgrimmar, whatever. So yeah, we are now basically going to be doing that, and I'm gonna show you how this is. So as you can see, we start game, it recognizes, hey, we are at a random place now. This area is called random. And now I walk to the middle part, it shows me, okay, now entering middle, I can go back, and it will take me back to random, and back to middle, I go over here, it takes me to kingdom, and then we have this so-called world name, which is like unidentified areas. Like for example, if you have huge map, you have different places, and then you have like, okay, I don't have any name for this place, but I want it to show at least where we are, in which continent, and in this case, mine is world. So my whole world name is world, and unidentified places, and this is basically covering the whole area. We have this one thing that covers the whole area. It's not necessary to add. We're gonna make it so that you don't have to add it. But anyways, let's get started, and it's really simple task and thing to do. So I'm gonna create new folder here. I'm gonna call this tutorial. Alright, so we need 3 different things here. I mean, not necessarily, no, because the UMG is something we don't have to do, you can do it your own. But like, at least one thing we need, and that's the actor. So we are having an actor in level, it's called World Location Manager. And as you can see, the way it works is that we have properties, which is like, we have locations, and then we have world info. And frequency is like how often it's gonna be checking it. I don't want to use event tick for this because I don't want to crowd the event tick. So like we could add to create a blueprint actor where we have collision to check if player overlapped with this or not, but then we cannot exactly modify that collision box, and that's not what I want. I want to be able to modify the shape of my collision box, or trigger volume rather. So we are using event timer to do the checking, and it's gonna be doing it every 0.2 of seconds. And then we have world info, which is like the main continent basically. So it's world, and it's gonna use this one, this volume here. Then we have locations. These are all different locations. So this is all we need. So back to creating the assets. So I'm gonna right click, I'm going to create, I'm gonna create the blueprint class, an actor. I'm gonna call this, you can call it anything you want, like World Locations Manager. I'm gonna call this tut World Locations Manager, because I already have World Locations Manager. So this I know, this is a new one we are going to be doing. Then this one is optional, but I like to keep everything compact basically. So I'm going to right click, go to blueprints and structure. I'm going to call this tut world info. You can call it anything you want, obviously. They're going to open it, and I'm going to create 2 things here. One is a text, and second one is trigger volume. We are using trigger volume because this works nicely. Now the first one, text, I'm gonna call this like world name. I'm gonna call this world name. World name. No, come on. capital W world name. There we go. And the last is world volume. Save. We can close this one. So now we can open up this blueprint and actor. So this is where we are going to be coding mostly everything. We are still going to be using also. It really depends whether you wanna use player character blueprint or player controller blueprint. I'm using player controller myself because reasons. Well, I mean, because all the player characters are using the same type of controller. So basically, I'm using player controller for that one. And also to show you how you can implement player controller or how you can use player controller with this. Anyways, so let's create some variables here. Now I'm gonna have to exactly check how I did this, because why not? That's what everyone does. So now we need a couple of. Actually, we need only three variables. So first variable, I'm gonna call this locations, and I'm gonna categorize it in under properties. That's where I put everything. So the variable type here is it's gonna be a map basically. So the first is gonna be trigger volume. Then from this, where you can choose whether you want to use array set or map, we're gonna choose map. And the second part, so the first is trigger volume, the second one is gonna be text. So we have everything we need in here. We have the volume and the name where we are going to be. Compile and save. Then I'm gonna make sure it's exposed like that. The next variable, I'm gonna call this world info. Exposed, and also I'm gonna drag it into the properties category. There we go. The variable type is gonna be the first one, not the second one, but the first one. It's gonna be world info. All right. Compile and save. Don't worry about that because it's correct. And the last one is the frequency. So I'm gonna create a new variable. I'm gonna call this frequency. I'm gonna expose it and put it under properties. And the variable type is gonna be a float. Compile and save. Now you can choose how often you want it to be checking. The faster probably gonna take more performance, but you can't much really notice it. I believe so. So I'm gonna do 0.2. So every 0.02 seconds it's gonna be checking this. We have to do it this way because there is no event for overlapping these things, because these are not inside in actor, or that's what yeah. Anyways, now we can go to event graph and we can start coding. So first things first, we need event begin play, but we do not need these two. So begin play, I'm gonna immediately start a set timer, and by event, yes. Time is gonna be the frequency itself, and it's gonna be looping, yes. We don't necessarily need this one, but like you can also make it so that like if you have like map travels or something like that, if you want ever, like if there's any case you want to actually pause or stop this this timer from, you know, checking or constantly or whatever, you can just promote this to variable, and then you can use this later on wherever you want. But now I'm not gonna use that, at least not yet. So next is from the event, I'm gonna drag down, and we need a custom event, and you can call this anything you want. Basically, what this does is this event is actually like checking constantly is something of like is a character overlapping any of these things, these volumes here. So I'm gonna call this overlap check. And so now first thing we need to do is we need to get location. locations, and since this is a map, we need to get we need gain the access to the keys. So basically, the first one is keys, the second one is value. As you can see, current type of well, now you can't see it really from here, but yeah, the first one is keys, the second is values. So we need to get the keys because we need to see is any of these actually being overlapped. So you just track out, search keys, and then we need for each loop here. So I'm gonna just hold down and click so we can to get that. So next is I'm gonna connect this together like that. Now from the array element, we are gonna do basically just bind event to on actor begging overlap, and we also need to bind event to on actor end overlap. It comes right after. So and you don't have to worry. It's gonna be constantly checking if this is going to be happening, but these are not gonna happen all the time. They only happen once when you actually do like overlap or you end overlapping something. It's gonna fire it once, even though it's checking constantly. That's how it works, and that's great. So the first one from event we drag out. So you have to do it this way because you can't just do custom event here and connect it, and then you will notice it's gonna give you error like I'm gonna do the same thing here, like custom. So as you can see, it's still giving errors because these are incorrect types. So that's why we just have to drag from the event, add custom event, and now we gain these, which we actually need. So this is for the actor begging overlap. So I'm gonna call this enter area or location or whatever you wanna call it. Just go nuts. Okay. Now I'm probably using like unnecessary functions here as well, but I still do it this way. So we need 3 different functions, at least for this, the way I did it, to make it work, to make it to work. So let's create 3 functions actually. The first, let's go quickly actually see if it's. Well, yeah, they are quite different. They have same things kind of, but they are differently. There are some differences there. So let's create first only one at a time. So this is gonna be get location name, and it's gonna be pure. And what we need to do in here, it's actually rather simple. So we need 1 input here and 1 output. 2, I believe. Yes. The first one is going to be actor. I'm going to call this overlapped actor. Yes. And the last one, the output is a text, type of text, and it's going to be, I'm going to call this either return value or name. Return value is more formal, so I'm going to use that. So now we need to cast this because we are basically we need to find the name of the volume which is overlapped. We need to get the name from this inside this location. So that's why we need to cast this first, because this is an actor, but as you remember, this is a trigger volume. So we need to cast this to a trigger volume. And then now what we can do is we use this location here now. So we are gonna do is we need to find. So we need keys. We need to get the keys first. And then we could check like is it valid and all that stuff. But it's probably unnecessarily really. I mean, like we could do that. Well, actually, it really depends, I believe. Like if we have the large one main volume for the continent itself, then I doubt this is gonna be an issue. Like for really an issue. But you can check if this is like okay. I'm just gonna do it how I did it here. But if you get some issues, you just can just ask me and I will see if I can fix it something. So we need to find this one from this cast to trigger volume. We need to check if this one is inside the location. Then I'm just gonna duplicate this location here because we need it here. Then I'm just gonna move this a little bit more down. And put this between a little bit more down, and there we go. Now, instead of keys, we need to get the value. So value, and why we are getting value is that we don't need to get this volume from here. We just need to find in which row is it. Like, is it the first, second, the last, or which one it is? Because the values are gonna be at the same, is it row? The same row as the keys are. So that's why we need to find in which row this is, so then we can get this from that row. So then from this values of, the values, we are gonna get this, and in this case, it doesn't matter which one you take, you can take reference, because we are not modifying or anything like that, we are just gonna get the reference from here. So connect that with the find, and you will have your name if it's there indeed. If it's not, it might give you errors. So that's something we'll have to check, but so far I haven't had any errors because I still have the main continent volume. Now we can take this return node here and just connect this up like that. Boom, boom, compile and save. We have this done. Then we need a second. We need to check get overlapped location. And why we are doing this? This is for when we end overlap. So this is for that part. So it's gonna be pure as well. All of these are gonna be pure actually. So here we need to do is like signs. It's gonna be player. Like there's no point to make this for a NPCs. I mean, you could do that technically for NPCs as well, but I have coded this so that this only works for character itself. However, we could also do this so that it could show you where the NPCs are if you are looking for them. I haven't tested it out, but I mean, like, basically what you can do is just like get overlap here. So we could actually try that. I'm gonna try. So we need one input. It's gonna be also overlapped actor, and yes, it's gonna be an actor. Here, an output is gonna be also a text, type of text, and it's gonna be return value. I'm gonna call it that. So now from here, we need to actually get overlapping actors. Now we are checking for trigger volume, so we need to check whichever trigger volumes there is at the moment. And since the way we are going to do this, you don't need to have like tons of overlapping volumes, because you can edit, you can like make them any shape, almost any shape basically. Yeah, you will see. So from here we need for each loop, and we can connect this to the starting node, whatever that is. Now then from array element we need to cast to trigger volume, obviously, yes. There we go. And now next is we need to check. In here I have done the checking. So I have done the chicken. No, the chicken. So we need to get locations. I'm gonna check first. Actually, we need the keys again. Keys. Now I'm gonna check contains item, and we're gonna check if it's from this as trigger volume. If this exists in these keys, that's what we need to check. Then we need branch here. And then we need to get the location again here. We need keys once again from true. We are gonna get these keys, so we need to find this once again. And what we're gonna be finding the same asterisk and volume from the start. So basically that's what we are going to be finding, because we know that okay, now this exists here, so we're gonna get it. Then I'm gonna get this location once again, and now we need value. So we need the values here, and from values we are gonna we're gonna need to get. We're gonna get the reference, and that. So here what I have done is I'm gonna create one local variable. I'm gonna call this local location name, and it's gonna be the variable type is gonna be text. So I'm gonna set it here now. Boom, there we go. And now then, from the go back to the for each loop here. So from completed, we're gonna connect that to the return node. And what this is gonna be is it's not gonna be exactly this. I mean, we need this local name. We need to get it, so we can check this if this is empty. Text is empty. So if it's empty, we are gonna do select, and we are gonna need the yellow icon select from the bottom parts, and the return value we are gonna connect this to the return node return value like that. All right. Then what are we gonna do next is we need to get the word info here. I'm gonna right click and split, and so if the local location name is true, so if it's empty, if there is no text, then we know okay, now there is no identified or specified location or area, so we are gonna use the continent name instead. So that's where we are gonna connect this word info name to the true. And if it's false, then we're just gonna connect this local location name to the false like that. Boom. Compile and save. We are done with this one. And then we need the last function. We need to check, are we currently in any location, excluding the main continent, the world itself. So let's create new function. I'm gonna call this is in location, or we can call it is in a location. Because hey, why not? No, okay, let's do it in a location. Okay, it's gonna be pure. We don't need input, but we need output, and it's gonna be boolean. I'm gonna call this return value. Disconnect these. All right, so yet again, we can do is an input here actually, because we can properly make this to work even for NPCs now. So it's gonna be overlapped actor yet again, and the type is gonna be actor. Boom, boom, boom. So from this overlapped actor, we need to again get overlapping actors, and the class filter is gonna be trigger volume. So we're gonna get for all the trigger volumes. So now here we need for each loop again. Well, this is going to be basically the same, almost the same. This is way shorter and it's not that as complicated. So we're going to get the location here, and we need the keys. And then we're going to just check if this keys, if it contains this one, yeah, we still actually have to do something between. We need to cast this. So from array element, we need to cast to trigger volume. All right. So it should look like this. All right. So now we're gonna check, does the locations map contain this current trigger volume? And then we are gonna create, I'm gonna create one local variable. I'm gonna call this b local bool, and it's gonna be boolean. So from this contains, we need branch here. So we're gonna check, does it include, and we only care, we're gonna then set this local bool after, and if it does, if it's true, we're gonna put this to true, and that's all we have to do here. Well, not in this one, but like we still have to actually fix this return node. So from the for each loop completed, we're gonna connect that to the return node, and the return value here is gonna be the local boolean. So we don't care about the false state of this, because it's out of by default it's false, and we only care if it's true, basically, because if it's true, then it's gonna tell the engine that, hey, okay, there is actually an identified or specified location actually at the moment where we are standing. So we are not gonna use the world name, you're going to use this one. But if it's false, it's going to tell the engine that, okay, there is no identified areas where we are right now. So that's how it's going to be working, handle. And so then, and since this is a local variable, it's always going to be false whenever this is fired. It's always going to be false by default. Now we can go back to event graph. And now from enter area, what we need here is get location name. So we're gonna get location name, and overlapped actor goes with overlapped actor, obviously. Other actor. So now this really depends whether you're actually using player character blueprint or player controller. So if you're using player character, all you have to do is just cast this to your, like in my case, mine is fantasy player, and that's all I have to do for this part. But since I'm not using player controller, player character in this case, then I'm gonna have to do player controller. Also, one notify that whatever we are then creating inside player controller, if you're using player character, you're gonna basically code the same thing, but inside player character blueprint instead of the player controller. Although I don't think that this is actually gonna be working. I mean, let me actually think, because I don't think these are gonna be working for the. Actually, now that I think about this, sorry, I made a mistake here, because now that I think about this, well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter. Let's just do it that way. Boom. It doesn't matter. It's still gonna be working. Sorry, no. I believe it's gonna be working still. Yes. Sorry, I am. What was I talking about? Okay. Let's continue. So I'm gonna use instead, if you're gonna be using player controller, then what we have to do from other actor, we need to get instigator controller. This is gonna show you whatever controller, like whatever actor just whatever actor did overlap this one. It's gonna get its controller and show what it is. And we know this is gonna be player. I mean, you can, well, not necessarily player. Like if it is NPC, then it's gonna be NPC. But in our case, I'm just gonna do here, drag out and cast to. Mine is fantasy controller, and I'm gonna connect this like that. Boom, that's gonna be working. Then now we have to do something inside the player controller actually, or if you're using player characters, then we're gonna do that. So you can open up your player controller or player character, and we are now gonna do one thing in here. So so now that in my case, I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna do here. So I'm gonna delete these two. Boom, boom, and okay. So what we're gonna be doing here is I'm gonna create a custom event here. I'm gonna call this let's say I'm gonna call this show custom world location or something that is gonna be doing it. We need one input here, and it's gonna be text. I'm gonna call this a location, and then you can create here your new variable, make it text, and call it something you want, like mine is current location. Then you have to set it here, set current location, boom, and like in our tutorial, this is enough. But if you want to use like widget, for example, then all you have to do is you just have to get this variable inside your widget blueprint. And I believe you know how to do that. Yes, if not, you can always ask me. Yes. But right now we're not gonna do that. Let's see if we do it in the end. So compile and save. Then we can go back to our world location manager. And from this fantasy controller, we need to drag out, and we are gonna now get this one. So show custom world location, and the location is gonna come from this get location name. All right. Now then, we need to do also this end overlap part. That's also really simple one. It's like so simple that it doesn't really matter. Let's copy that in here. There we go. I'm just gonna quickly update this one because I deleted the old function. All right, so from here we need to drag out from the event and add custom. I'm gonna call this a lead area, and then this is almost the same, but not quite. So from other actor, yet again, it's the same. From here, it's the same as here. I'm using controller. If you're using character, you don't need to get this one. So I'm using controller, so I'm gonna get instigator controller, and I'm gonna cast to fantasy controller. And we don't care about this overlapped actor. No, that's not what we do. But we're gonna do something here between, because we don't have to cast this if it's not necessary. So what we can do here is we need this is in location function overlapped actor. Well, we can do that like even from here basically. So it's gonna show us, okay, this character. But like, if you only care about player, you can just, instead of using this overlapping actor, you can just drag out and do get player character, and that way this only takes the player character. But I'm gonna use overlapping for now, and then we're gonna check. We need branch here. So if it's true, then we are gonna. No, I mean if it's false, then we are gonna cast to the controller. We are gonna show custom location, and the location is gonna be get overlapped location, and overlapped actor. Well, let's do it here as well. All right. So if you want this to work for player, your NPC, instead of using player fantasy controller, you can just use your AI controller instead, and it's gonna still pretty much work. But this works. That should work. We still have to do one thing. This works now, basically, yes, but like whenever we start the game, if we want to see where we are at the like when we begin play, we can still do that as well. And that's easy. I'm just gonna add here a small delay, otherwise it's not gonna work. I'm gonna put it 0.1. I'm just gonna get player controller because this is, yeah, I just want to see where we are at in the beginning. So I'm gonna cast the fantasy controller. You're gonna do the same thing for player character if you're using character blueprint instead. Show custom world location, and we are gonna get overlapped location. And we are just gonna do that, basically connect there, compound and save. All right, this should be everything we need to do. We can check this out. If I go back to fantasy controller, and I'm just gonna go to my event tick here. I don't need this actually. I'm just gonna disconnect these. All right, so I'm just gonna use event tick and print string because I don't have my widget at the moment. So I'm gonna get current location, boom, compound and save. And now that this is done, so I'm just gonna quickly check if that works. Then I'm gonna show you how to do the rest. I'm gonna place this here. We're gonna use, I'm having kingdom. I'm gonna call this a kingdom, and then I have middle. I'm gonna call this a middle. Third one is random. I'm gonna call this a random. And my world, I have world, and I always will have world. It's gonna be world, and I'm gonna call it world. All right, so now I click play, and you can see, yeah, it shows me world. Now I'm gonna go over here, and it should say middle, and it should say random, kingdom, random. Did it actually showed me incorrect one when I spawned. Well, somehow it showed me world. All right, I don't know where we went wrong, but random. Let me check. Okay, all right. Okay, go gay. No, that's wrong one here. Well, yeah, that it should work. Yes, it should actually work. But now at the beginning, I don't understand why it doesn't exactly work at the beginning. I mean, it kind of does, but I mean, like, let's do here a print string. So I'm gonna check. Okay, is it somewhere? Is it doing wrong somewhere? Well, all right. Well, that is weird because it should give us that, and we are overlapping exactly. I'm gonna add this a little bit more, like 0.2. Well, no, I don't know why it's giving me incorrect, but as you can see, it's now working at least. So we are going in a correct place. No, I don't, and I understand why is it not giving me the correct one, because it should. Wait, I know why. This should be player character actually. At the beginning, this overlapped location. Comment and now, yes, now it's working. All right, so yeah, that's I was stupid. Because it's trying to get the overlapping from the player and a controller, but like no, the controller itself cannot be overlapping anything. How rookie mistake. So yeah, it has to be the character at this point, so it's gonna be character. Boom. All right, so but now I'm gonna show you how to How to make sure that you can, and actually there is, I mean, all of these worlds. So I'm gonna delete and everything except for, actually I'm gonna delete and everything. I'm gonna create new floor for myself. That in a mess is fine. 0, 0, 0. I'm gonna make this 10,000, 10,000, and let's make this 40. 10,000. All right. So now, let's get started, and I'm gonna delete this quick. All right. So, how can I make this web locations? So, it's really simple. I'm gonna go from perspective to top view, so I can see my whole beautiful world here. And all right. So let's start with the main, the biggest one. So what we have to do is like I suggest you change your position grid snap value to higher or something. So it's gonna be way easier then to handle. So we go up to modes and brush editing, and we choose the pen. So now we can draw. And as you can see, it's snapping, so it's gonna be easy and simple. So we can draw somewhere any basically shapes we want. And you can just put your wherever you want your starting position, and you press spacebar, and you can see it starts giving us this this alignment thing, and you can just use like right click to move around. And when you want to put, again, I'm gonna put my one corner here, so all you have to do is press enter again, and it makes your second one here. If that's a mistake, you can press escape, and it will like basically undo what you just did. But if you're happy, just spacebar. I'm gonna go over here. I'm gonna do spacebar here, up here, and now this will go here. So and now when I want to, like stop this, you can either press spacebar here. It will automatically end it if it's like on top of the starting area. But if you want to do it quicker, all you have to do is just press enter, and it will automatically close the gap then. And yeah, with enter. All right. We are not done yet. So now we go back to top view. You can see it's like, oh wait, but it's not a volume. And it's up in the air. I mean, yes, it is. Don't worry. We can scale it up and down. We can move it up and down. However, just keep in mind, you cannot edit this anymore after this. I don't know. I mean, oh wow, you can actually. So this one you can? Why? Okay, that's new. So basically you can still edit this while it's this one. Okay, but let's say this is what we want to do. This is okay, this is good. Then what I will do is, I'm gonna go down here in details panel, under actor, we can convert this actor into trigger volume. Now it's volume, and let's see, can I now? Okay, I can still do that. Nice. So we can still edit this. This is really nice. Okay, it was maybe just some stupid issue I had before. Okay, I'm gonna go back from modes to select, and I'm gonna move this down to a little below there. There we go. All right, so now this is my world, and I'm gonna rename this. So I'm gonna rename this with F2. I'm gonna call this world so I know what this is. I'm gonna put it in the world locations. All right, now I want more. So I'm gonna go back to top view, modes, brush editing, select pen, and I can just put this anywhere I want. I'm gonna press spacebar to start drawing. It should work. There we go. Now it started. All right, I'm gonna make. All right, I'm gonna actually do it that way. So here, there we go. I'm gonna put this in the middle, then up, and here spacebar too. So it closes it as well. All right, this is my second one. I can still actually draw the rest, and I can just do what I just did, the process afterwards. So I'm gonna start from here to up here, down in here. So we have a nice shaped. I'm gonna click and enter. Then I'm gonna do new one from here to here. I mean, spacebar. There we go. There we go. There we go. Then I'm gonna do here and down here. I'm gonna press enter. And the rest I'm gonna leave empty so I can see if the world thing, if I mean, it obviously works. So this place is like unidentified. I'm gonna go away from this mode. So I'm gonna click modes and select. Now back to perspective, and now we can convert these guys, all of these three, basically. So we have these three. I'm gonna select them. I'm gonna go down to convert actor to trigger volume. I'm gonna put them in, in the world location, and now I'm gonna just rename this. Like, okay, this is gonna be. I'm gonna call this like the winter forest. Oh, come on. F2 winter forest no, winter forest. This area can be let's call this Magmaria. And the last one, I'm gonna call this as a Greenland. All right, so these are the places. Now I'm gonna put this down also into the there we go to the down. So the floor. Okay. Front. And I believe it's wise that you do not, specifically, you do not change. You do not change these process values. It's gonna reset it, I believe. Oh, that's what I have noticed. It's done for me when I have actually done that accidentally before. It's not. Is it? On the floor level? Nope, it's not. There we go. All right, so now I'm gonna just make sure that they are there. Okay, now all I have to do now is just go to my tutorial world location manager and scroll up to location. So you can just click plus. You can only add one at a time. That's the curse of the map variable thing, but it's okay. I'm gonna just add here a Greenland. I'm gonna call this a Greenland. I'm gonna make one Magmaria and Magmaria. Winter forest. I'm gonna call this also winter forest. And then my forest. What the hell is forest? Forest. And then my main continent is gonna be world, and I can call this like anything I want. Like I'm gonna call this a Eastern Kingdom. From World of Warcraft. And now I can save and I can play, and you can see we are in Winter Forest now, in Eastern Kingdom. So now we are in No Man Land, which is weird. Wait, is it? No, it's not actually. So this is so large. Winter Forest. So let's go here. We should eventually end up in the Magmaria. Oh, there we are, Magmaria, and the last should be Greenland. There we go. All right. Now, yeah, that's actually works nicely. Yeah, I mean, like I can show you. I actually have done this one thing. I'm gonna actually show you this. Where is it? It's in content fantasy controller. Controller. I'm gonna actually add here. I have already done this one thing, so I can show you what it does. So basically what I did here is I have this widget where it always will show me when I enter a new area. So I made it like, so basically inside here what I have is the world location. So what I have here is basically an animation. It's gonna do this, like really simple animation. Now entering and the name. And then I have one variable location, which is exposed, instance editable, and also exposed on spawn. And here I have a whole animation thing. So like we play the animation, we wait 5 seconds before we play it in reverse. We wait 1 second because the animation itself is like 0.75 of a second. Now, so after 1 second, it's gonna automatically remove itself from the viewport. So that's all it does. And also I made sure that this desert, so my location text, so the text is also bound to the location. And then, yeah, this happens when on the event construct, so whenever the widget is added to the viewport. So save, and we can close this. Now, so first I have to do is I just have to make this part first. So I just create widget, and you can choose your world location widgets. And so you have this location here, and then you can just drag from the original value, promote to variable, call it anything you want. Mine is basically this one. And then you just drag out and add to viewport. And now, then I'm gonna add all of this in front just to make sure that it's not gonna be like if you go back and forth different areas, it's gonna like stack up on top more and more of these animations on top of each other. We only want to have one at a time. So what I did here is we are gonna first check, is this valid? But like, do we have anything in the viewport? If we do not have, then proceed to actually create one and just add to viewport. If we have something, if it's there, we can check just in case. Okay, is it still in viewport? Like, you wouldn't actually have to do this most likely at all, but I just do it anyways. If it's in viewport, if it's not, we proceed to create one again, because it's gonna anyways overwrite this. But if it's in the viewport, actually, we had to do this actually. So if it's in the viewport, I want to remove it from the viewport, from the parent. So if let's say if it's showing you at the moment like entering Eastern Kingdom, then you go quickly back to another place while it's still showing you entering or entering now Eastern Kingdom. It's gonna remove that and it's gonna then create new one with the new location. So basically this is all you will have to do afterwards. And so now you can see now entering Winter Forest. I'm gonna go to Magmaria, entering Magmaria, Greenland, Magmaria. Okay, as you can see, it's gonna do that like back and forth. Greenland, Magmaria, Greenland. Oh, it's sometimes it still fucks up, apparently. But there we go. But that's something we have to see how somehow to fix that. But like, other than that, it seems like it's actually working pretty nicely. All right. I believe that's actually all for this tutorial. Whew, this was like almost 1 hour. While I was like, hey, what's wrong? What's right? What's left? And all that's like. Yeah. Anyways, I hope you found this actually useful for your project, and I thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.